Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBears Casino. I'm Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Krysan. TK joining us from his home away from home, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, as he does there a couple times a week. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, lasportshall.com. We're probably about 3 weeks away or so from announcing our 2026 Hall of Fame class. That's exciting. Look for that. We'll vote on it this weekend. And of course, LeBears Casino, the best place to be before the Friday nights before LSU football home game. There's no better place. You go to 18 Steak, you go to the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you gamble a little bit, you go to the Edge Lounge and party all night with the great bands and stuff. There'll be concerts and things up in the event center. A lot of fun. Make your plans to stay and visit and eat at the LeBears Baton Rouge for LSU home games. All right, TK. We got the Tour Championship coming up in golf this week. Scotty Scheffler, since Tiger Woods, he is the highest rated guy, the lowest odds, or the highest odds, however you want to talk about it, to win the Tour Championship since Tiger Woods. You bet $100 on Scotty Scheffler this week against the field, 30 golfers. You're plus 160 on your money. That is ridiculous. So that means don't do it, right? And oh, by the way, the odds they're talking about with Tiger Woods was when they did the staggered start, and Tiger got strokes, for finishing, high on the, finishing in first place and getting 10 strokes or whatever for this event. They're not doing that all. Everybody's even to start the tournament. But Scotty Scheffler is plus 160. Second place is plus 850. That is McIlroy. You bet $100, Rory wins. You win $850. That is a gigantic spread. I've never seen that before in golf.
That's amazing.
Except for Tiger.
It's never been done. He's that much of a favorite. And he's just that much better than everybody at this point. It doesn't mean he's definitely going to win this week, but if you when you bet, you're supposed to look for value. Okay, there's value in betting $100 on McIlroy and winning 850 versus winning $60 if you bet on McIlroy. But that's why they call it gambling. We don't know what's going to happen, but I would be surprised if Scheffler's not in the hunt come Sunday afternoon.
Some news: the New Orleans Saints are the last team in the NFL to not name an opening week starter. Obviously, still another battle. 3 practices this week, a game this week, so they're gonna take it right to the 11th hour until they have to name a starter. They're not going to name a starter. I have no problem with this, Tommy.
I don't either. And if you look at the stats, I saw side by side comparison. They're pretty dang close. Nothing really says, "Ooh, now I want to go with that guy." So it's going to be up to Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier, the quarterback coach, to go through all the other things, the practice tape that we don't see in the numbers from practice, the work in the quarterback room, the work in the locker room. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things here. I think, you're right. If you ask me today, Wednesday, August 20th, I think Rattler will be the starter against the Cardinals on September 7th in the Dome. That's my opinion. Just because there's more experience there, and coaches like guys who've done something before. So we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. I'd be shocked if they named Shuck the starter. But then how long of a leash does Rattler have? How many games do you give him? I mean, it's a tough situation, but the bottom line, the over and under of 5.5 in Vegas, I think the value there is bet under.
A guy who was named the starter in the NFL was Daniel Jones, the former New York Giants starting quarterback who signed a giant contract with in New York, and then immediately things didn't work out, and they cut the Daniel Jones era. He ended up third string quarterback in Minnesota at the end of last year, and then now he's in Indianapolis. He's named the starter over Anthony Richardson, who was the 4th pick in the draft out of the University of Florida. Richardson's this big, strong, fast, athletic guy, cannon arm, run real fast, run you over like a tight end. But reports are out of Indianapolis, he's an immature guy, much like Jamarcus Russell reports, where he's just not doing the homework, not taking it seriously enough, too immature. and the old salty veteran, Daniel Jones, who's got years and years of experience in this league, is going to be the starter in Indianapolis. And I got to be honest with you, Daniel Jones did not have a great career in New York. He flashed some moments like everybody does. Doesn't this feel like the stories we've been seeing of Baker Mayfield having a resurgence or Geno Smith having a resurgence? Wouldn't shock me if Daniel Jones, because that, again, I say this over and over, the quarterback position is one of those positions where it's like a fine wine. The more it stays in that bottle, the more time it has to marinate, the more, it's better at being old than young. And to me, this could go the way of Mayfield and Geno Smith and others.
I agree completely. I think there's a lot of upside with Jones and playing in New York. That has the additional pressure from the media and the amount of people that. Another thing about Richardson, Ronnie, it was last year, I believe. He dropped back to pass and he kind of reversed field. He had to juke somebody. He extended the play with his legs. Then he tapped out. You know how, like, when the wide receiver goes, on a 60-yard streak route and they overthrow him and he'll look to the sideline like, hey, get me out for a play. But when he tapped out, he lost the locker. He lost his teammates. Then, like, if you're the quarterback, you don't say, "I'm tired. I got to get out the game." It was a regular season game. So I don't know, and maybe Richardson will fall into the path you just talked about with Mayfield. Maybe he'll go somewhere else one day and emerge. Time will tell on that. But strange situation up there for the Colts. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year unless Daniel Jones just comes Baker Mayfield style, just really excels. I also read where Baker Mayfield in his NFL career has had 10 different offensive coordinators. That's got to make it difficult, just because we don't understand what all goes in. We've seen quarterback on Netflix, and we know there's a lot to it. And there's more to it than even meets the eye. But to have 10 coordinators, wow. I got to give credit to Baker Mayfield.
Speaking of Netflix, what have we watched in the last 48 hours, Tommy?
Baby steps, Ron. I started to watch the SEC thing, but I didn't get to it. But I'm going to get to it before Saturday's radio show. I
Yeah,
haven't
because we,
canceled Netflix, so we're
okay, I
good.
want you to talk about, yeah, I need you to watch it before Saturday so you can talk about Brian Kelly and all the different storylines that you saw on the radio show this Saturday. By the way, speaking of the radio show, we'll be at Pro Dreams, the brand new Pro Dreams that opened right next to LSU, right next to the original walk-ons in that shopping mall. Pro Dreams, of course, Trey Ledbetter, the owner, is the official auction company that we use with the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, LSU. When you go into the football stadium for games, you see the different booths. They've got the majority of those booths selling sports memorabilia, and he's got a beautiful location that's perfect for corporate outings and all that kind of stuff. And we'll be there live on Saturday from 10 to noon. The grand opening. It is the grand opening. They're going to have Skip Bertman, Paul Maneri, Jay Johnson sign autographs for a private VIP event, and then they'll have a party open to the public later that day on this Saturday, the 23rd. So we'll tell you all about it. 10 to noon this Saturday on ESPN Radio. The Yankees hit 9 home runs last night, and for the second time this year, and you'd think, oh, well, yeah, of course they hit 9 home runs, Ronnie. That right field fence is just ridiculously short. No, this happened in Tampa on the road. 9 home runs. Remember back, the torpedo bat burst onto the scene back in late March when they hit 9 home runs in the first week of the season, and everybody thought it was the bat. And now a lot of people have the torpedo bat, so it's not just that. But unbelievable. They went back to back to back home runs in the first inning, ended up hitting 9 home runs, beat Tampa 13-3. But that right field fence in Yankee Stadium is just ridiculous, Tommy. It, uh, it is the shortest, most ridiculous fence in all of baseball.
Yeah, it really is, and it skews stats a little bit. But the ball flies in Colorado, and Tampa's playing in a minor league park, which the wind makes the wind different because the stadium's not as big. So it is what it is. But to hit 9 home runs, I mean, Ronnie, that's what Major League Baseball is now. It's hit it out the park or strike out. That's it in a nutshell. And the Yankees got some bombers, pardon the pun, but you know it doesn't surprise me. I guess it does surprise me that they've hit 9 in 2 different games this year. But that's what guys do now. They go to the plate trying to yak it, hit it out the park, hit it into the bleachers, and obviously they got it going last night. Tampa's not a bad team, but we'll see. Yankees creeping back into the AL East. We'll see if they can. It's going to be interesting down the stretch for baseball. Only about a little over 5 weeks left in the regular season.
Lastly, Rory McIlroy at his press conference announced that he bought 1,100 Masters flags after winning the Augusta tournament this past April. That on that Sunday evening after the event, he asked the folks in the gift shop, "How many Masters flags do you have?" And they said 1,100. He bought them all. That's pretty unbelievable. Have you, the thing about the Masters, Tommy, to me, everybody talks about the course management, how it's just absolutely pristine. Mike Hollander, former LSU baseball player who works the number one hole as a gallery guard, told me that at least 3 times a year when he's on the tee box working it, people will lean over the railing and like touch the ground or ask, "Hey, is that real grass or fake?" Like, because it's that pristine and that amazing, right? Even the area that where you walk on as the fans or patrons, as they call them, is still better than any fairway you play anywhere else in the world. And all of that, the hills and the shots and the iconic holes. There's a lot to take away when you go to the Masters, the beauty of it all. But the number one thing that I take away is the Walmart size gift shop that they have. And it is filled with people, it is filled with lines. It is amazing the amount of merchandise that they have. You can ship it, you buy it all and then you go right over to the other counter and they'll hold it for you, ship it to your house. You don't have to lug it around, or can rent a locker and put it in the locker and pick it up on the way out. But it is incredible the amount of money that they make at the Masters. And it's the only place you can get the official Masters gear. There are a lot of copycats online, a lot of made in China kind of stuff. But the official Masters gear, you can only buy it at the Masters. And that's the hook. And that's why when people go for the first time or they go annually, they're buying so much stuff, because they're buying it for people back home or friends or family or whatever. Everybody asks, "Hey, I give you, will you buy me a Master shirt? Here's $100." Well, usually $100 ain't going to get it. It's a little more than that. But my point is that it's incredible, the outfit, and I love to try to figure out, all right, how many people through the gates, how much money are they making? I mean, it's millions and millions and millions. So to watch Rory buy 1,100 Masters flags is pretty awesome. And look, he'll autograph those. There'll be auction items for different charities around the world. He'll sign them and give them to sponsors and things like that. But that's a pretty cool story.
Something else, Ronnie. I didn't know till yesterday when I read it. By tradition, the winners of the Masters are the only ones that can sign a flag inside the emblem of the U.S. That's got the flag sticking in where Augusta is. So he'll sign them inside the logo, which is reserved only for Masters champions. I didn't know that. I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of cool. Now, here's the other thing. You're talking about the gift shop. Similar experience when I went to the Players back in March. Walmart size gift shop, and of course you got a hat out of the deal, and I spent $250, $300 in there that day on coasters and shirts and hats and this, that, and the other, and whatever. So no, I get it. The money they make on that is just mind-boggling. That I saw at the Players, and it's magnified at the Masters.
TK, tell us about Tremonti's as we get out of here.
Well, first thing, save the date, Friday, August 29th. Big meat sale. You don't want to miss that. You better load up that freezer, get everything you need for tailgating and home gating throughout the football season. And of course, today, as they do every Wednesday, $6.99 for burger and fries. You can eat it here. You can get it to go. They got the tabletops here. You can sit down and eat here, or order some to go, bring some back to the office, whatever it might be. And they do that every Wednesday, $6.99 for their world famous burger, which is sold at Rougarou games, and an order of fries thrown in there. All right, we'll be back next Friday. We'll be back 2 days from now for another episode of Sports Shorts Daily. Do like and share this show, please. We always ask you that. It's important. It helps out Tremonti's. It helps out Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. It helps out LeBear's Casino. When you like and share this show, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please do that. On behalf of Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Christ. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.